Today, we're diving into a book that takes one of our oldest symbols of evil and completely flips it on its head. We're exploring Mark Amaro Pinkham's The Return of the Serpents of Wisdom, a book that makes the case that the serpent is actually a symbol of enlightenment. So let's get right into it.
Right out of the gate, the book challenges the story of Genesis as we know it. It brings up the Gnostic Christian view, where the serpent isn't a tempter at all, but a liberator. The idea here is that the serpent didn't cause a fall from grace. Nope. Instead, it pushed humanity out of a state of, well, blessed ignorance and onto the much harder but way more rewarding path of self-awareness.
So here it is, side by side. The traditional story we all know says the serpent is the villain, the cause of our downfall. But in this version, that exact same act is seen as a heroic push towards spiritual freedom and the search for real knowledge. It's a total paradigm shift.
Okay, so if the serpent is the hero, who were its champions? The book gives them a name, the Serpents of Wisdom. So let's figure out who or what they're supposed to be.
According to the book, we're not just talking about a symbol. We're talking about a global network of enlightened beings in actual physical bodies who have been acting as humanity's teachers throughout all of history. We've apparently known them as prophets, gods, and healers, all working towards a single goal, helping us evolve spiritually.
And their abilities, well, they are pretty extraordinary. The source claims they have what's called a fourth-dimensional dragon body. Think of it as a kind of energy field that gives them powers like clairvoyance and telepathy. In this state, they can supposedly travel the universe, create objects out of thin air, and even live in their physical bodies for centuries.
So, where did these incredible beings come from? The book traces their origins all the way back to mythical lost continents, which it calls the Dragonlands. The source lays out this idea of two Gardens of Eden, or Dragonlands, that existed on opposite sides of the globe. You had Atlantis in the Atlantic Ocean and Lemuria, also known as Mu, in the Pacific. These two lost continents are presented as the original homelands of this entire serpent civilization. And you can actually see the theory in action on this map from the book. It shows the lost continent of Mu there in the Pacific, and it traces the migration routes of its people called the Nagas, or serpents. They allegedly spread out all across the globe to found new civilizations after their homes sank beneath the waves. So from these lost lands, the book argues, the serpents of wisdom started to spread a worldwide culture. So where exactly does the author claim we can see their influence? Let's follow the trail. Our first stop is Egypt. The book claims the pharaohs themselves were part of this ancient lineage, ruling as dragon kings. It even suggests that Egyptian civilization is way, way older than we think, maybe even predating a great flood. And as for evidence, the book points to the Great Pyramid. It claims the star shafts inside the king's chamber were not random at all. One pointed to Alpha Draconis, a star in the dragon constellation, and the other pointed to Orion. The theory is that this specific alignment created a 0 point, a powerful nexus of energy, perfect for carrying out spiritual initiation rituals. The story then jumps across the ocean to the Americas, where the book claims we can find another ancient serpent presence. This time, it's linked to refugees who escaped the sinking Dragonlands. And this gets really specific. A direct quote from the source connects this huge, sweeping narrative directly to the oral history of the Mescalero Apache. It says, their ancestors were serpents who fled a sinking island in the Atlantic called the Old Red Land, which the book says is another name for Atlantis, before they eventually made their way to North America. All right, next we travel to India, which the book describes as another major hub for serpent culture. This one was supposedly founded by migrants who were fleeing the sinking continent of Mu over in the Pacific. So these migrants from Mu were known as the Nagas. The text says they built a massive empire in India, founding some of the oldest cities we know of, like Harappa and Mohenjo-daro. They even named a city after themselves, Nagpur, which literally means City of the Nagas. Okay. So far, we've been looking at all the external stuff, the history, the lost lands, the empires. But the real core of this serpent wisdom is an internal, spiritual practice. And the book argues that the path to becoming a serpent of wisdom is actually open to anyone. The whole process is called the rising of the serpent fire, or kundalini, which is a concept right out of yogic tradition. The idea is that there's a dormant energy coiled at the base of your spine. When it awakens, it rises up through 7 energy centers, or chakras, purifying your entire being. When it finally reaches the crown of your head, it triggers enlightenment, and that is what transforms an ordinary person into a serpent of wisdom.
So you see, the coiled serpent isn't just some external symbol of evil or temptation. According to this book, it represents a dormant potential coiled deep inside each and every one of us. This is the inner serpent, and it's really the foundation of this entire philosophy.
All right, so we've covered the ancient past and the internal present. Finally, the book moves to the future, and it makes some very specific prophecies about the era we're living in right now. The source points to that famous 2012 date from the Mayan calendar, but it's not about an apocalypse or the end of the world. It's seen as the end of a massive 104,000-year cycle. This date marks the beginning of a new age, where the planet itself is said to be entering a whole new state of being. And this is the symbol the book offers for this new era, the Aquarian cross. See the 2 interlocking circles at the center? That's the key. They represent the reunion of polarities, male and female, spirit and matter, light and dark. And that reunion is the central theme of the age we are supposedly entering. And here it is, the ultimate prophecy, the return of the Kumaras, the original serpents of wisdom. But this isn't just about them walking among us again. It's about a fundamental shift in human consciousness, a shift that would allow us to develop the senses we need to finally be able to perceive them. And all of this leaves us with a really fundamental question, doesn't it? Is this reinterpretation of the serpent an ancient key, something that could unlock lost wisdom, or is it a powerful new myth crafted specifically for a new age? The book, well, it leaves that for us to decide.